Okay, it's Sunday. I don't know, what's it, 12th of October or something, or 11th, 12th of October? I never know. I'm not very good with dates. Anyway, so I'm on my way to Kiri's BMW again, because they've got an open day, and might see what they've got and have a look around some bikes. Always enjoy that. It's a bit chilly. It says 10 degrees. It doesn't feel feels a bit chillier than that, but there we go. Now I have the Wunderlich touring screen fitted instead of the standard BMW screen, which has, as you can see, a thing in the middle of it. More a bit later, once I've got off this little bit of twisty bit of boreen here. Anyway, so from my viewpoint, whether the helmet camera is on or off, and whether I pushed it down or whether I pressed the button. So yeah, can be a bit awkward. So that's what I've got that quick output for. It shows me my battery charge and all sorts of other bits and pieces, and shows that it's actually recording. Now you can actually get it to do a preview of the screen, but I've found that to be unreliable, and you need to connect to the camera's Wi-Fi and all that sort of stuff. So that never really works for me. So I won't bother with that. Anyway. So I'm hoping this will take me on a load of back roads over to Kiri's to enjoy the drive. As I say, it's a little bit chilly this morning. Well, it's down to 9 degrees now. Still, that's okay. I've got the heated grips on. Now what I must do is get up to some speed, but let's lift this screen up and see what happens. Oh, much better. Much better. There's absolutely no wind. Whereas the previous screen gave me a bit of a draft behind, pushed me into the bike and that sort of thing. This is absolutely brilliant. Yep. Okay, let's bring it down again so I can see where I'm going properly. Obviously you're going to be looking through the screen when it's up that high, so you've got to consider that. Okay, I wonder how high it needs to go before it does some decent protection. So that's down at its lowest point there, and it's still fairly good, and there is a bit of a draft on the helmet, but I don't mind that. It's not turbulent, it's not wobbling me helmet left and right and that sort of thing. There's a doggy on that quad there, very obedient dog, sheep dog. Yeah, good. Oh well, so far so good. Look, I'll have to try it for extended period on motorways and stuff, but so far so good. Much better, much better. And of course you can see the shape of the helmet, shape of the screen is much different with these two little flaps poking out either side. The other thing, it seems to actually reduce the amount of wind blast on my hands as well. all good then, all good so far. We'll see. Yep. I'm just going to cough, sorry about that. I got a cold, started last Friday week and sort of started to dissipate. It seemed to take forever to get rid of the damn thing, and now I've got catarrh and oh god, you know, yuck. Yep. Of course, it's we're well into autumn now, and or as Americans call it, fall. Autumn, yes, yeah. Fall, of course, is a practical way of describing it because the leaves fall off the trees in this time of year. But autumn has a much lovelier sound to it, doesn't it? Slightly more poetic word. Anyway, autumn leaves, fall leaves, yeah, no. Okay. Well, we're not expecting any rain today, just probably cloudy conditions. So is this the ideal bike for these sorts of roads? It ain't too bad, is it? I mean, the thing is, like any other bike, you still manoeuvre it and that sort of thing. I haven't got the panniers on. I think the bike looks quite good without the panniers. It actually looks quite good without a top box as well. Yep. So overall, everything is going grand. Can't complain. Now, I did have a little problem with the hill hold on this, in that you'd engage the hill hold and the light would come on, and there would be some element of braking, very light, but it wouldn't hold it on a hill. You know, you could even push the bike forward without too much difficulty, but that seems to have cured itself now. I gave the rear brake a couple of really heavy stomps, and that seems to have set it up okay. So hopefully that won't be a problem in the future, because it is a heavy bike, and if you haven't got the hill hold, well, yeah, you've got the old school method of holding it on the foot brake and doing a nice job with the clutch. But it's nice to have both feet on the ground and a little bit of hill hold. Adds that added little bit of reassurance. The quick shifter on this was quite smooth when I first got it, and it seems to be getting smoother as the bike is starting to put some miles up. And also the fuel consumption is starting to improve as the miles are rising on the bike. So that's all good news. Yeah, very happy overall. Let's just put the old screen up again and see where we are with it. I've put it up just a little bit. I can still see over the top. Wind noise is completely cut off. I can feel a small piece of draft. Yeah, I think we're going to be in business with this screen. I'm so far very pleased with it. Now what I'm going to have to do is test it out with a pillion on the back and see how the pillion gets on with it, but so far so good. Yes, excellent. But now I am reasonably lucky, I suppose, in that respect, that I've got I'm only 5'10", which is not big, but I have, although I've got short legs, 30-inch inseam, I've got a long body, so I can see over the screen. Oh, what would I do for a couple of inches extra on the old legs? Yes, lovely. The other thing is, when I was riding the bike the other day before I fitted this screen, I could feel a draft on my, especially my right hand for some reason, that would find its way up my sleeve somehow, and that seems to have completely disappeared with this new screen. Perhaps it's something to do with those flappy things on the side of it. Yeah, this is good. Now let's enjoy the road a little bit, shall we? Has my handlebars camera gone off because it's no longer flashing with its red light? Strange. I'll have to check that out and see what's going on with that. We're going to make a slight left turn in 2 kilometres. I don't have the map on the screen. I could do, but I'm going to cough again. Just going on the audio directions at the moment. I can look at the map as and when I need to. I thought about replacing my cameras. I've got the GoPro Hero 9. Both of the cameras are GoPro Hero 9s. So, but I haven't had. There's a slight left turn, which means turn left here, really. Oh yeah. This is Kilworth, and Kilworth is where there's a pub, Cotter's Bar. We won't be going past Cotter's Bar, we've actually cut that off, but that's where our Three Counties Motorcycle Club meets. John Cotter, the publican, is a member. They've got a good few bikes. The local church, quite nice in its sort of blue colour. Halloween. Hallows. Halloween, yes, All Hallows. Of course, it's associated with ghosts and ghouls and horror films. But I must actually look up and see what All Hallows Eve and All Hallows is about. And in this country, we've taken on the trick-or-treat thing in a big way and that sort of thing. And people get dressed up in all sorts of costumes for Halloween. So it is sort of a big party atmosphere, especially for the children. It's become something of a tradition now. One thing I've had to get used to riding this bike is, of course, once it's rolling, you know, it's reasonably agile and doesn't feel so heavy, and actually it's quite good into the bends. But if you're coming to a stop, really you've got to make sure that your wheel is straight as far as you can, and that you properly stop it, because it's very top heavy when it's stationary, and it would be too easy to make a mistake. Cough again. Whoops, that was a big old lump, wasn't it? So yeah, I haven't been knocking up or racking up the mileage in the last week or so on this. What with the cold and things at work, so I've had to use the car a bit more, so I haven't been using the bike quite so much. I did go to work on it on Friday, but that was about it. And I've actually got to go into Cork City for work on Wednesday, and there's never anywhere to park in Cork City, and the car parks are extremely expensive, probably some of the most expensive car parks anywhere. Anyway, so I'm going to bring the bike then. I'll stick a chain around the back as a deterrent. In case of theft. I don't think there's anything you can do to it. If they really want the bike, they're going to take it. Now this has slight advantages, being a heavy old bike, so it's going to be difficult to lift. And my tracker will tell me if it's being moved without my permission. and where it's going. Let's hope. Although they don't have some sort of systems that you can mask these tracker signals. I don't know. What can you do? What can you do? You know, these thieves are just scum, really, aren't they? And you know. I'm not certain what this part is called at the moment. I don't normally come down here. There's somebody waving mad.
In 400 meters, turn left onto Brian Boru's N72.
Hello. Blackwater sub-aqua search and rescue. Oh. This is Fermoy. I didn't realise the Blackwater. I didn't realise that the Blackwater Sub-Aqua Club was there, I must say. There you go, you learn something every day, don't you? Let's see if I can annoy some people by shooting past and turning right. Sorry about that, cough again. We're up to 11 degrees, doesn't feel much though, does it? So before the motorway, the M8 was built, which links to the M7 Dublin to Cork motorway. This was the main road to Cork from Dublin. Through Fermoy, you can imagine the traffic was fairly busy. Nice of him. Thank you. having an election shortly for president, the Irish president. Only 2 candidates. There were 3, but one dropped out. 2 female candidates. Now we have had an excellent president, Michael D. Higgins, who has his term is now expiring. A poet, a very intelligent man. Has been a very good president for Ireland, very difficult to beat. So yeah, that's he's as I say, his term is finishing, so a new president is to be elected. So the presidential term is 7 years, which is quite a long time really, in Ireland, and you can run for a maximum. You can run for a maximum of 2 terms, so that's 14 years, and Michael D. Higgins has done his 14 years. Now he's written a book of poetry and recorded it onto CD and records and that sort of thing. I've forgotten what it was called, but anyway, there was there were a number of celebrities, Irish celebrities, reading out his poetry at the National Concert Hall, and he was there and he read one of his poems as well. And I'm not sure how many countries you'd be able to mix with the president of the country in such a way, in that he was with the people, he was through the crowd, he didn't have a big armed guard. You know, it was fantastic, and you know, everybody sort of really was able to engage with the president, and you know, that's so rare, isn't it? It doesn't seem only other countries that we can do that. But anyway, yeah, a great experience, I must say. Car boot sale. I've always wanted to buy a car boot. Not sure what I'd do with it. Of course, in America they call the boot the trunk. I'm not sure why we call it the boot, to be honest. It's just become the norm. I actually think probably trunk is a better sort of description of it, really. We call the cover over the engine the bonnet, which is like a sort of hat affair, I suppose. Bonnet, where they actually call it the hood in America. Nothing under the bonnet, under the hood. What you got under the bonnet, what you got under the hood. Yep. the actual area where the engine is kept, still called the engine bay. I think, is that still called the engine bay in America? I'm not sure. Was it Winston? I keep getting interrupted by this Kalimoto fella, but I suppose I better listen. Was it Winston Churchill who said that the US and the UK were common peoples, only separated by a common language? Of course, the Portuguese have this sort of weaker, you know, being I'm English, although I've been living in Ireland for the last 30 years. The Portuguese have the same complaints that we English do about the Americans in terms of language with Brazil, because Portugal, as in the UK, is a relatively small population compared to, well, UK compared to the US, and Portugal compared to Brazil. But Portuguese is the language in Brazil, and they've got their own way of saying things, which exasperates some of the more pedantic Portuguese, in the way that the US language exasperates UK English speakers. It doesn't really matter, does it? No, it doesn't. As long as we can understand each other. And of course, one of the things about any of these languages is that, you know, if you want the language to remain vibrant and relevant, it needs to develop and it needs to change. And of course, different cultures adopting the language will have different views. So living here in Ireland, there are lots of different words and different ways of saying things using the English language. Of course, it's coloured by the native Irish language. Some people call it Hiberno English, sort of English with an Irish flavour. And there are some very colourful descriptive terms in English as spoken by the Irish. Lovely to listen to. Now, I've lived in Cork for when I am 30 years, and I still don't have a Cork accent, but I might have a couple of the things. For instance, and if someone else asks how are you, my response is often grand, which I would never have used when I was living in England. It's a sort of expression that's used in Irish. And because the English is, of course, coloured by the Irish language, phrases like "it do be," you know, is a bit strange to English ears, but yeah, oh no, not there. I was going to turn right there. I obviously wasn't paying enough attention to the chat. Oh, I should have turned right there. That's okay. It's alright. I should have turned right there. See, I wasn't paying attention, talking to you too much about Irish language, and didn't really get the instruction. Take exit 3. Whoops, there we go. Thank you. Just acknowledge that they actually saw me and stopped. I'm actually feeling quite peckish. Now I know they're going to have pizza later on in Kiri's where we're going, but I don't really fancy. I don't think so. Take exit 3. See, if I'd have gone that other route, I would have come out where that car's just come out down there, which would have been nicer, I suppose. Anyway. I've set the suspension to road. Well, the last time I rode the bike, I set the suspension to road, although the actual mode set on my mode button there is dynamic. So I'm just going to double check to see what suspension setting it is still in. Another cough, sorry. Because I've got a shortcut button down there and it is still in road, as you see. Because yeah, sometimes I've come to it and it's been in dynamic and I thought I left it on road, but that might just be me forgetting that I'd set it on dynamic. So yeah, the dynamic suspension does tighten it up, and the road setting is very plush. Now it still handles reasonably well in road mode, but not quite as sharply as it does in dynamic. I wonder if they're going to let us go out on test rides. Probably not. I know they did something, was it a year ago or yeah, something like that, where they had BMW UK brought over a load of bikes for test riding. It's a bit different when it's the dealer, isn't it? A load of hooligans out on their motorbikes, whereas the BMW UK can probably afford it a bit better. Although I've heard there are one or two dealers in the UK that have closed or amalgamated or cut down the number of branches they have. I don't know. Are the number of motorbikes being sold reducing? I don't know. They're extremely expensive things these days, aren't they, motorbikes? Anyway. This thing is fitted with a radio with speakers there, which you can also pipe through your headset. But the speakers, yeah, grand when you're stopped and in traffic, if you don't want to, provided you don't mind annoying everybody else. They're no use once you're actually rolling. And secondly, to pipe it through your headset means I have to connect the headset to the BMW Connect app and all the bike and everything, and that's look, it takes forever, and it switches off Bluetooth. It stops the Bluetooth working for your headset directly, and you have to switch that off and on again to make that the priority again, and it just is all a bit of a nuisance, to be honest. So I don't bother. I'm not really bothered about the radio. We want the 639, so that's right here. Into Glanmire. Very pleased with this screen. It's got to the stage now where I'm actually not noticing it, which is ideal, isn't it? Able to look over the top, which is what I like. The edge of it doesn't seem to be worrying me too much. Yeah, good. I could nip into the garage here and get something to eat, but I really don't fancy the faff stopping, taking my helmet off and, you know, parking up and all the rest of it, so no, I won't bother. Those gates there and that bit of water, and in there was a dog rescue centre or an animal rescue centre, and that's where we got our current dog Pete 13 or 14 years ago. He's a sort of Doberman mix. He's getting a bit old now, poor old bugger. I suppose we all are. This is all new, this section of road. They've been doing a lot of work on it. Been knocking back the Exputex as well, trying to clear the old guitar. Whoops, half asleep there. That left turn that I'm supposed to be taking still here. Yes, it is. I see a car going up there. So they haven't quite finished the roadworks in Glanmire. Let's go up here. Some of the new housing estates, yeah, there's a bit of greenery and a few trees going up anyway, so that's something, isn't it? I assumed that the schools and everything can cope with all these new estates. I've been filming for 57 minutes there, and battery is still at 42%. That's not too bad, is it? Especially as it's not particularly warm, 14 degrees now, but it's been colder. 9 degrees, wasn't it, at one stage? Actually does feel a little bit milder now. Amazing how just a few degrees makes such a big difference, even though the sun's not out. Of course, if the sun was out and it said 14, it would actually feel quite a bit warmer. Is that psychological, or is that an effect of the extra sunlight? I don't know. Well, it certainly was a back road into Keres. I'm not sure. Who were in a little island there, but I'm not sure it was particularly nice in some sections, you know, still. Exit 1 is straight on. Wrong gear there, wasn't I? Even this doesn't like massively low gear, despite its 6-cylinder smoothless, or massively high gear, should I say? Yeah, low revs is what I meant. Why don't you you fucking clown. I'm not sure what was going on there. See this clown on the left hand side. What does he think he's going to do in the car? Was he going to try and cut me up? Or was he upset because a bike got in front of him? People in Ireland do get bit, whereas in other countries they just allow you to get on with it, don't they? Because, you know, you're not really getting in their way. So here we are at Keres. I'm not sure where they're asking you to park. I think I will just park it up here, actually. Okay. So there was Kiri's, lots of bikes there, some good deals, and yeah, interesting. So now I've decided to follow some sort of twisty route home, and I'll leave you there. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Bye now.